To my dearest friend, I have missed you. The time I have spent recovering from my injuries has left me a little more confused and lost in the weeks that have passed. I do, however, have a story to tell you. A story of a creature I never thought I would so easily meet, but holds as a reminder to how strange and unusual the events in our lives can be. The days of recent have merged into one long and strange passage of time, but I remember the morning in question very clearly. I was going about my usual activities, writing some notes, bookkeeping for a local merchant, cooking a meal while being careful not to redo any damage to my healing leg. But when all of a sudden, a knock sounded at my door. But it was not normal nor calm. Instead, it was hurried and heavy. I went to answer, and as the door opened, I came face to face with a towering, hooded man. His eyes narrowed on me as he peered into the house. "Are you the one they call Dimitri?" he asked in a gruff voice. I simply nodded and he seemed relieved. He checked the outside before turning to me again. "I need your help. May we come in?" he asked. "We?" I questioned, being unable to see anyone else with him. He answered by lifting one side of his cloak. I caught the glimpse of armor, an arrangement of bombs and potions, but behind him I saw a pair of bright white eyes staring back at me. Without doubt or a second guess, I knew what it was. Quickly, I took a step back and gestured them to come inside, closing the door and locking it behind us. The man thanked me, removing his cloak and revealing a full set of well-worn armor. I had not noticed the mutation in his eyes until he stood under a dimmer light, but it was unmistakable that he was a witcher. But more to my interest, the creature that accompanied him was small, no taller than a child, and indeed did look much like one. But the strange color of its skin, the messiness of its nature, and the size of its white eyes said differently. "I have never seen a Godling before, but I've read much about your kind," I said, kneeling down beside it. "It will not speak to you. Its nerves are shorter than its height," said the Witcher gruffly. "I am not normally visited by witchers and Godlings. Why have you both come here?" I asked with interest. The Witcher seemed to look me up and down once more, judging me silently and making sure that I was aware of the blades sitting on his back. "This little one will not leave me be. Somehow it's snuck into the city and can no longer find its way out. The guards are searching for it. People think it is a demon bringing with it bad luck into these walls. I was told by the scholar in the library that you would be able to help me sneak this little one back into the wilds. I was told you had an admiration for creatures that most do not." I was surprised to hear such things, but knowing the local guard and the local people, they were never ones to be patient with the unknown. The Godling looked at me with some curiosity, and I could see it was scared. Every time someone passed the window outside, it hid behind the towering Witcher. I asked how the Witcher found the creature, and he explained that he had taken a contract, one that had led him to the sewers of Novigrad, a contract to kill pesky drowners. However, once the blood had cleared and the smell subsided, through luck, the Witcher found the Godling, shivering and terrified in a dark corner. Unable to talk, it did not speak, but it did seem to recognize the medallion about the Witcher's neck. Somehow it was familiar with such things, and knew that the mutant would keep it safe. Apparently at first the Witcher had wanted no part in helping the Godling, knowing it would be more trouble than it was worth, and that he had a bounty to claim. But the Godling would not leave him be, and the Witcher was forced to seek other help, for being a mutant himself meant that the guards kept an even closer eye on his blades of silver and steel. And so through the librarian, who I knew very well, they found me. I offered them both a meal, and with a quick glance through the window, the Witcher agreed. They must both have been starving, for they ate quickly and greedily. The Witcher explained that he had been taking contracts throughout the northern kingdoms, and we exchanged a few stories of what we had seen on our travels. He seemed confused by my interest in even the more deadly of monsters, but he did ask for some of my notes, saying that he would take them back to his school for studying. It felt strange to be helping a Witcher, but it was something I did gladly. The Godling still would not talk, and I felt by the look in its eyes that it was still scared of me. The Witcher asked what I knew of Godlings, since he himself, despite his profession, was more accustomed to understanding the deadlier beasts. I told him that Godlings had always seemed like curious creatures to me, shy beings that stay away from most human folk. I had heard they build homes in fallen trees, or live in burrows that they decorate like magpies. They are drawn to innocence and kindness, often making friends with children or those that they know have a good heart. They are kind but territorial, sometimes living in areas for many, many years until settlements become too big or they simply pass on. Although shy by nature, they have been known to trust smaller groups of humans, being hard-working in return for food, items, and simply mutual respect. However, they also have their fair share of devious nature, for if a human tries to do them harm, they could easily lead them away into the forest towards a larger and more deadly danger. But overall, I told him that they were harmless guardians who wanted to live a simple life, being kind to those around them so long as the favor was returned. The Witcher had listened with interest, but after both had finished their food, another question came. He asked how I could help them leave the city unseen, and luckily through my good choices, I explained how my home had once been used by smugglers. I showed them down to the bottom floor, where I kept all my best books and a collection of many things. I took them to a carpeted area, and upon lifting the heavy fabric, I revealed a trapdoor. It led to a tunnel, one that would take them far beyond the city borders, to a small cove near the ocean's mouth. There they would leave, through a doorway, one that I was always sure to disguise with dead branches. The Witcher thanked me. It was strange to see a smile, but his gratitude was genuine. I said that they would always be welcome if ever in need. The Godling, who still was silent, reached into the pocket of his robes, retrieving a small black stone. It placed it in the palm of my hand and smiled. I took it gratefully and nodded thanks. The Witcher lifted the Godling onto his back and began to climb down the ladder. Once at the bottom, he cast Igni, and with the flicker of light, I closed the door. This may have been one of the stranger encounters in my lifetime, but one that I will never forget. I'm sorry this story does not bring with it more details on the creatures we call Godlings, but I feel it is something worth your ears. I thank you for taking the time to read this letter. I hope it finds you soon, and, as always, I wish you well, my friend. Safe travels.